Parenting Stories Without Judging. Written and complied by Susan Clausen. Rob, congrats on getting published. Thank you for your hard work and time on this project. Enjoy. Pages 259 and pages 359 of my stories. Just call my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running. Oh, yes, I will. Chapter 33, Never Forgotten, by Robert McWilliams. If I were to describe my teenage years in one sentence, how would I put it? I'd say it was a torment and pain to me and the world. I was not even a teenager when I started to do drugs, but that was my way to escape from facing the facts of myself. I never liked who I was all the way back to when I was a young child. When I was a 5-year-old boy, my father died. I never had the chance to get to know who my father was, because I had an older brother who had got all of his attention. When my father died, I began to hate myself. My grandmother, who was my father's mother, blamed my brothers and I for his death, even though he died of cancer. Her reaction made me to hate myself even more. But I'm not writing to tell you about my childhood. I'm writing to tell you about my teenage years. So I'll take you into the depth of a lost soul that wished day after day that he was never born. Oh, baby, don't you know about winter, spring, summer, or fall? Hey, now all you got to do is call. Lord, I'll be there, yes I will. You got a friend. As the blood slowly started to ooze from my arm, it seemed to make me feel better. Not that it only eased the pain of having to look at myself in the mirror for a minute. I still had to face the fact that my heart was still beating and that I still had breath coming in and out of my lungs. In those days, I had tons of friends. I was a really great guy. But hidden deep in the smile was a child that hated himself even more than he hated the devil. Cutting myself was my way of inflicting pain on my body so that I would not have to feel the pain of knowing that I hated who I was. People may think that hating yourself doesn't hurt, but it does. Hating your soul and who you are is the worst pain any human being could experience. Most people think that life is a precious gift, but I thought life was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Even though I had many friends and girlfriends, I still could not accept who I was and understand my reason for being born. One day I was cutting myself, and it didn't ease the pain of seeing my face in the mirror. So I graduated that day from being a cutter to someone who was out to relieve the world of a living entity that should have never been born at all. I was deep into drugs, and I started taking LSD. But I didn't take the amount that everyone else did. I took as much as I could get my hands on, and still that was not enough to take my soul. Then one day when I was 15, I was in my grandmother's backyard. I was so mad at myself, I started beating myself in the head with a 2x6 full of nails. My grandmother, the one that allowed me over to her house, saw me and told my mother that I was beating myself in the head and that someone should go out and stop me before I killed myself. So they did. I hated them for it. My mother took me to a place called Teen Challenge. It worked for a little while, and I felt good about life and who I was and everyone around me. But that only worked for a short time until I started realizing that I was finding another outlet to hide the pain of a warped, wicked soul that wanted to be set free of this beat-up, tormented body where it resided. I was inside a World of Tears. I was going to sign with that band in California. Thanks to all you great people in this world, I no longer do music. So I was back up to my old tricks. of cutting myself, attempting suicide, using major drugs. The crazy thing about it was I hated myself even more. I could tell you so much more, but then it would turn out to be my own novel, and I'm not writing to sell my story. I'm writing to help troubled teens. Today I'm a songwriter. I have a literary agent at Writers Literary. For how long I will keep them, I don't know. I'm also a talented poet, and I'd like to leave you with a little lyrical poem that I wrote. It has taken me many years to face what I was and who I am, and to be able to write about my teenage years, because they were so dark. I wrote this when I was older, and I wish so much I could have written it when I was struggling as a youth. Maybe it would have saved some pain and suffering. What am I to do? Young and troubled in this world full of pain. The mother and father beat me up again. No one to talk to, no one really knows. Do I need a doctor before I take my soul? What am I to do with this pain inside my heart? What am I to do when my tears begin to start? Will it all be over by the morning's light? Where will I go? Where will my soul go if I take my life tonight? My friends are kind of funny. I can feel they don't care. They talk a lot about me. I can hear it in the air. I feel the tears are flowing from deep inside my heart. Where will I be going when my soul decides to part? What am I to do with this pain inside my heart? What am I to do when my tears begin to start? Will it all be over by the morning's light? Where will my soul go if I take my life tonight? I think I must be crazy or human walking grave. Instead, I'm pushing daisies throughout my high school days. Please help me with these feelings, this problem on my mind, so I can be fulfilling my destiny throughout time. What am I to do with this pain inside my heart? What am I to do when my tears decide to part? Will it all be over before the morning's light? Where will my soul go if I take my life tonight? Suicide, suicide, suicide. Will I take my life tonight? Suicide, suicide, suicide. Please help me win this fight. What am I to do with this pain inside my heart? What am I to do when my tears decide to part? Will it all be over before the morning's light? Where will my soul go if I take my life tonight? Author info bio update. When I first saw the chance to write this story about my teenage years, I was delighted not only to get the story out there, but it really helped me to write about my thoughts. I have a niece who is 15. She's one of my little angels, but she's a lot like me when I was a teenager, and she never listens when I explain to her how you can graduate through hatred within yourself. I also wrote this story for all of the teenage children that are experiencing some of the same things I went through. What I found that works through the pain is writing about your torments, pains, hurts, and fears. I have been in and out of prison most of my adult life. When I turned 35, I finally came to the realization that my brothers and I were not to blame for my father's death. At times, it's still hard to gaze upon myself in the mirror, because as an adult, I've had many more suicide attempts. The person I am today, very creative, but much about me is hard to endure. Now at 38, I'm still single, just waiting for a woman who can love me for who I am and believes I have a beautiful heart, even though it still holds a lot of pain. But I sit and wait for that angel to come take those pains away. No matter how bad life gets or how much you want to cut or hurt yourself, it's not worth it. I have spent most of my life inflicting pain upon myself. Not only physical pain, but also emotional pain, and it was the ones I loved the most that I really hurt. If you're a cutter, find the poetry within your soul, because it is there. Just think about those words you might be able to use to help someone. If you're into suicide, it's not too late. It's only too late when you take your last breath, and I know deep down inside that's not what you want. What finally brought me around is that I had a little niece that was strangled to death by the umbilical cord inside her mother's womb. She never had the chance at the most precious gift any human could receive, life. Please don't give up. Never give up. It does get better. Robert McWilliams, author of Never Forgotten. Well, that's my story that none of you ever read. You know what? I hope every human soul in the city of Omaha one day burns in hell, because I don't want to go to heaven. I could, but I don't want to. I want to see you piece of shit burn too.